Meanwhile, 4 games on tap tonight, 7 o'clock, 7:30, 9:30, and 10 o'clock spread out across the board. Any looks, Tom, tonight on the ice for us?
Let's get started with the early game, and that's going to be the Capitals Canadiens over 5.5. It was minus 130 yesterday. Really do like this spot. And, we've seen a bit of scoring in a lot of these games early, whether it was Winnipeg and St. Louis. We saw scoring between the Leafs and the Sens last night. I expect the Caps to win this game. Call it 4-2, maybe 5-2. Maybe that empty netter pushes things through. But I think we will be cruising towards the over for the majority of the game. And then we're going to see a point of resistance. If we do see it move to 6.5 from 5.5 for the next game, it may be 6.5, minus 140 on the under. That's the spot I'll initially be looking, because I think that's where we should be seeing a little bit of scoring early, and then things come back to the norm, and then we'll start to see a lot of unders.
4 of our 5 games to start off the Stanley Cup postseason this weekend saw at least 6 goals. Only one had 5, and that means there was a ton of scoring there as well. Vecchio and I will look at the quadruple header of Stanley Cup playoff games on this Monday, but we got to send Donnie now to the money line. DRS, have a wonderful time on the money line. We'll talk tomorrow here on TEL. Vecchio and I round out the show with a focus on the ice. Up next, we round out our 3 hours together here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid with TV Tom Vecchio of SportsGrid, looking at our quadruple header of Stanley Cup playoff action on the ice on this Monday. Vecchio, what really stands out is the fact the Stanley Cup postseason also began on Saturday, but just with 2 games. And then we saw 3 games on Sunday. And tonight we have 4 games, 2 of which are the opening games of a set, and the other 2 are already game number 2. Vecchio, as the hockey guy, how do we make sense of the Stanley Cup playoff schedule?
I hate it. I hate it. It should have started Saturday, and it should have been 12, 3, 7, 10 for 4 games on Saturday. Do that same thing on Sunday, roughly thereabout. Yeah. And then maybe then you go to 3 games on Monday, 3 games on Tuesday, whatever it might be, add in the travel days after that. And then we're at this even cadence where we don't have Tampa and Florida are starting tomorrow on game 1 when we're going to have game 2s wrapped up. I don't like it. Started on Saturday, 4 games on Saturday. You have the time to do so with essentially 12 hours, the same way the NBA does. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. There is a game 1 still tomorrow, even after 2 of our game 2s will be in the books as of this Monday night. But anyway, Vecchio, let's look at the games that we have today. In our last segment with Donnie, you mentioned the Caps and that game pushing to the over. Caps and Canadiens over 5.5. Might Alexander Ovechkin, after making history with his goal scoring, continue that into the postseason? Of the other 3 games, Vecchio, what's your favorite play on this Monday?
It's got to be the Blues and the Jets, and let's just call it regression to the mean. And, a lot of people like to talk about like the zigzag, and especially in the playoffs, one game goes over, the next game goes under. One, the underdog wins, then the favorite's going to win the next game. 5.5, under 5.5 for Winnipeg and St. Louis. It is minus 144. I saw it at minus 135 at some point yesterday on in-game live. Way too many goals being scored, and the goals increase the variance, and especially when we have great goaltenders on both sides. With Jordan Binnington for the Blues, kind of Hellbuck for the Jets, that's just not the style that they want to play or have played really at any point this season, turning these games into 5-3 outcomes. The Blues could very well win this game, but increasing the back and forth nature and trying to win a game 5-4 or 5-3 is really not the route that they want to go about things. So I expect the goaltenders to return to form. Obviously, just the opening excitement of all games causes things to go over.
Yeah, Jets won that game 5-3 up in Winnipeg, of course, trying to avoid the President's Trophy curse. You would expect with Connor Hellebuyck in net, a lower scoring game, and yet Winnipeg a minus 530 favorite, not only or a hefty favorite tonight, but minus 530 to win the series. The Avs won game 1 against the Stars 5-1. Vecchio, Colorado, greater than a $3 favorite to win this series outright. Those are both game 2s. Our other Western Conference series beginning tonight is game number 1. Now, Vecchio, the Oilers are a favorite to win the series over the Kings, around a minus 132 price in terms of that outright number. But tonight, as you see, the Kings with home ice advantage, a minus 125 favorite. Total is 5.5. How do you make sense of the disparity? Edmonton, the series favorite, but the Kings favorite on home ice for the opening game.
Home ice will give them, that slight favorite in game one, as you would expect, but a lot of people, and I assume the public money would be going towards the Oilers at a certain point. But the Kings are winning this series, and it's going to take them 6 or 7 games, but they're going to get some revenge after losing to the Oilers multiple seasons in a row in the first round. The Kings will get through. They have a great team. I'm not going to say they have a superstar like they have with McDavid and Draisaitl on the other side, but the depth that the Kings have, combined with the injuries that the Oilers are dealing with, I think will put the Kings ahead. I don't know if they win game one, but I expect them to make very solid changes throughout the series and, again, win in 6 or 7 games. This first game probably does go over, but then I think we are in for very clear unders, not just under 5.5. I'd be willing to take some under 4.5 at some point.
Yeah, Vecchio, to your point, by the way, the last 3 postseasons in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Oilers have knocked out the LA Kings in the opening round. Last year in only 5 games, of course, with a ton of expectation for Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Edmonton. We'll see what this holds. LA a favorite in game 1. Edmonton the favorite for the series at -132. Tom Vecchio, it is always a pleasure breaking things down with you. By the way, we talked about it during the break. Nick Castellanos to go yard today for reasons out there, I think, is a great look. Vecchio, enjoy the Monday, my friend. The jack of all trades always delivers with that prop perspective. Thanks for being here.
Of course, thanks for having me. We'll look to the Devils goalie for saves in game 2.
Ooh, I like that look, Vecchio. We'll do that tomorrow when the early line returns at 8 a.m. Eastern here on SportsGrid.